Hello guys, this is 12th Harbinger and welcome to my complete Raiden Shogun guide. This video covers everything you need to know about her, including her kit and playstyle tips, combos, constellations, weapons, artifacts and base team comps. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting with Raiden's skills. Raiden has these unique normal attack animations and a beautiful charge attack animation, but too bad we won't be using it as this talent is useless. You don't need to level it as well since her burst has separate multipliers. Her elemental skill provides extremely good electro application with decent AoE. It lasts for 25 seconds and has a cooldown of 10 seconds, which makes it easy to have 100% uptime on it. Her coordinated elemental skill attacks trigger every 0.9 seconds. It has a standard ICD of 2.5 seconds, which means every 3 hits. But this doesn't affect Hyperbloom triggering as the ICD is separate for every Dendro core. Due to this, she is an excellent character to trigger Hyperblooms. It also provides burst damage bonus for the team, which increases or decreases depending on your character's energy cost. Also note that her elemental skill triggers only after you deal damage. If you can't deal damage to the enemy, for example against shields of Abyss mages or lectors, you can't trigger the skill hits. You should use your skill at the beginning of your rotation almost every time as it increases your energy generation, buffs your burst and for more damage uptime. However, if you don't need the Electro Aura for VV Shred, you can use it later. Moving on to the best part of Raiden's kit, the Booba Sword. This is the main focus of Raiden's personal damage. It starts with an extremely powerful initial slash. She will get Electro Infusion which lasts for 7 seconds. She also gains resistance to interruption, making it almost impossible to interrupt Raiden during her burst. She also provides energy restoration for the whole team. Her damage can be increased significantly by building resolve stacks. Raiden gets resolve stacks when her teammates use their burst or by gaining elemental particles due to her Ascension 1 passive. The higher the burst cost, the more resolve stacks you gain. Since Raiden provides energy restoration and due to how resolve stacks work, it is recommended to use her burst after all her teammates' bursts are used. Her normal and charge attacks during her burst are considered as burst damage. As a result, she can't benefit from normal or charge attack buffs and doesn't synergize well with characters that require normal attacks like Bade or Electro Traveler. She benefits from buffs that give burst damage bonus and synergizes with characters like Yelan or Xingqiu who require only normal attack animation to trigger their burst. Her Ascension 1 passive, as I mentioned earlier, provide a bit more resolve stacks. Raiden's Ascension 4 passive makes energy recharge more valuable on her as she already has high energy requirements. So this passive makes building ER on her more worth it. However, you should not build more energy than required to get her burst off cooldown unless you have Engulfing Lightning. Moving on to her constellations. Her first constellation allows Raiden to get resolve stacks faster. It gives 80% increased resolve stacks when electro character use their burst. And for characters from other elements, the resolve stack gain is increased by 20%. It does provide a damage boost, but this constellation is not needed as you can reach the max resolve stacks with 3 teammates that have a high energy cost of 80. Even without characters with high energy cost, I wouldn't recommend you to pull for this constellation. The only reason you would want to pull for this constellation is to go for her C2. This constellation is a huge damage boost. Her burst hits ignore 60% defense of the opponents. It is around 43% more damage. Usually you would want to stop at this constellation for Raiden, but if you are a whale, you can go for the third constellation to maximize Raiden's damage. This constellation increases the burst level by 3. This is the last stopping point for Raiden Shogun. Even if you are a whale, you should not go for other constellations. The fourth constellation gives team-wide 30% attack buff excluding Raiden after her burst ends. Raiden never uses her burst at the beginning, as a result the constellation is useless for the first rotation. But in scenarios with multiple rotations, the attack buff can prove useful. However, this is quite rare as C2 or C3 Raiden should be able to clear most of the content in one rotation unless the enemy has multiple phases. The fifth constellation provides silent upgrade for her elemental skill, which is insignificant. The C6 reduces teammates' burst cooldown, which again is unnecessary. Moving on to Raiden's burst combos. There are many different combos you can do with Raiden. Starting off, we have 2 into N4C plus N2C combo. This combo requires less stamina, as a result it is quite easy to use. If you feel like you cannot squeeze in the N2C combo before her burst ends, you can do N1C. You can also dash cancel her animations by doing N4D combo 4 times. This will require some practice, but this combo has high damage ceiling and can be consistently executed if you master it. Also, since you are doing more normal attacks, it synergizes well with Xingqiu or Yelan. Next we have 3 times N3C plus N1C. This combo also has a high damage ceiling, but it can be difficult to execute due to its tight timings. If you have attack speed buffs, it is the best combo to use. Next we have the Invinci combo. This combo is easy to use as you just spam a charge attacks, but it costs a lot of stamina. It is recommended to use this combo if you are using Venti, as Raiden can consistently hit all the enemies trapped inside Venti's burst with her charge attacks. Moving on to her weapons. Her signature weapon Engulfing Lightning is her best in slot. It provides attack buff based on your energy recharge. Next we have the Staff of Homa. Even if Raiden can't benefit from its passive, the raw stats makes it an amazing option. Primordial Jet Spear is also a great option for Raiden due to its high base attack and crit rate. You won't be able to get the stacks from its passive for Raiden's initial burst hit, but she will eventually get stacks over the duration of her burst. Calamity Queller provides a tremendous amount of attack, which makes it a great option for Raiden. If you don't have these 5-star options, don't worry, as there is an extremely strong F2P weapon that you can use on Raiden, that is the R5 catch. It provides energy recharge, burst damage bonus as well as crit rate. It is worth the pain of fishing to take this weapon to R5. Even if you have the Engulfing Lightning, this weapon is an amazing option for Xiangling, who is used with Raiden. If you don't want to fish, Wavebreaker's Fin is another strong option. It is better than the catch at R5, however it also depends on your team's energy cost. The Staff of Scarlet Sands is an amazing option for Aggravate or Quick Bloom teams, as it makes Elemental Mastery more valuable. Similar to the Staff of Scarlet Sands, Battle of Fjords is an excellent choice for Aggravate or Quick Bloom teams, as it provides Elemental Mastery along with crit rate. Skyward Spine provides energy recharge and attack speed buff, which lets you do the 3x N3C plus N2C combo consistently. This combo has the highest damage ceiling, which can make it a bit better option than the catch. You also have the Deathmatch. It provides crit rate and additional attack buffs depending on the number of enemies. Lithic Spear is worth considering if you have it at R5 and at least 2 Liyue characters in your team. As Raiden's teams rarely have any shielders, the passive of Vortex Vanquisher is wasted on Raiden, but it can be used just for the raw stats. If you don't have any of these weapons, you can use the Furina's Lance for the energy recharge. And for Hyperbloom build, you only need Elemental Mastery. Dragon's Bane is the best choice as it provides the most EM. Moon Piercer is the best F2P option. It can be better than the Dragon's Bane in some situations, as it can buff the attack of a character, resulting in more team damage. You can also use the Battle of Fjords, as it provides 120 Elemental Mastery, which increases with refinements. Lastly, you can run the Furina's Lance on her. The energy recharge is not needed, but its passive can be helpful for energy hungry teammates. Moving on to our artifact sets. Our best in slot is the Emblem of Severed Fate. The 2-piece set effect provides energy recharge, which is required by Raiden, and the 4-piece converts energy recharge to burst damage bonus. Raiden can also utilize the 4-piece Tenacity of Millelith. This will reduce her personal damage but increases the team's damage. It can be used if you don't have Emblem set. Gilded Dreams is also viable for Quicken or Quick Bloom teams. Alternatively, you can use 2-piece set effects of Emblem, Thundering Fury, Noblesse Oblige, or Attack plus 18% or Elemental Mastery plus 80 for Dendo reactions. For Raiden's energy requirements, try to aim for 200 to 220% energy recharge. You can go above this amount, but don't go too far. Moving on to our artifact stats. For Sands, you can either go for attack percent or energy recharge depending on your stats. Attack percent can be better, but energy recharge Sands help to reach the ridiculous amount of energy recharge Raiden needs. Energy recharge pulls ahead of attack Sands with the Engulfing Lightning. For a Goblet, you can go for either attack percent or electro damage bonus. Electro damage bonus gets better with attack buffers like Bennett or Kujo Sara, and with damage percent buffs, attack percent goblets get better. Electro damage goblet is generally better, but both are quite similar in damage, so use the one with better substats. If you are using attack Sands, you may want to use an electro damage goblet so that you don't overcap on her attack. If you are using her in Quicken or Quick Bloom teams and Raiden triggers a good amount of Hyperblooms, you can use an EM Sands or a goblet. EM stat becomes better with the Staff of Scarlet Sands, but don't use both. And for Circulate crit rate or crit damage. For substats, try to reach the required amount of energy recharge. Then go for crit stats followed by attack percent and energy recharge. EM substats are also great for Quick Bloom or Quicken teams. For a Hyperbloom build, the artifact sets you would want to use are 4-piece Flower of Paradise Lost or 4-piece Gilded Dreams. 4-piece Flower of Paradise Lost gives more damage but is resin inefficient as it is in the same domain with the Desert of Pavilion set. So it is not recommended to farm it. Instead, the Gilded Dreams becomes a better option to farm as it is in the same domain with the Deepwood set, which is crucial in most of the Dendo reaction related teams. Alternatively, you can use 2-piece sets that give Elemental Mastery. You can also use a Deepwood set on Raiden if no one else is using it. For our artifact stats, you only need Elemental Mastery. Elemental Mastery on Sands, Goblet and Circlet. And for substats as well, look for Elemental Mastery. If you are using Furonius, you may want to build some crit rate. Moving on to her team comps. There are quite a lot of teams you can build around Raiden. Also note that shielders are not necessary for Raiden as she gets high interruption to resistance in her burst. As I mentioned earlier, as her burst attacks are not considered as normal attacks, she doesn't work with Beidou or Electro Traveler, but she does work with Yelan or Xingqiu as their bursts only need the normal attack animation to trigger, starting off with burst DPS build. For this team you will need sub DPS characters, buffers and healers. For the buffers you can use Bennett for damage buffs, healing and Pyro Battery for a certain energy hungry cook. Kujosara is a great option especially at C6. Lisa can provide defense trade and Thrilling Tales buff. Uki Shinobu can use the Tenacity set and also provide some healing. Her burst applies a lot of Electro, making it excellent for swirling Electro with Anemo character. Also, the latest character Furina is an amazing option due to her damage buffs and high off-field damage. Mona provides buffs from her burst and uses Thrilling Tales. She can use the Tenacity or Noblesse set. Due to a short buff duration, she is mostly used for damage showcases. Kokomi provides off-field Hydro application along with healing. She can utilize the Tenacity set and also use the Thrilling Tales. Barbara is the worst Kokomi. She can't use the Tenacity set and has a restricted Hydro application but can still be used. For the sub-DPS character, Xiangling is an amazing option for her high off-field damage. She also enjoys the energy restoration and burst damage bonus from Raiden. However, you still need Bennett here as you might face some energy issues. Yaemiko and Fischl are the best Electro characters that you can use. Yaemiko has more AoE coverage but needs more time to place her turrets. She also has high burst damage on which you can have 100% uptime due to Raiden's energy restoration. Fischl has single target damage but is an extremely strong option. She also requires less field time. Yelan and Xingqiu have high off-field damage and good Hydro application. Raiden also decreases the energy needs, letting you build more offensive stats on them. You will also need an Anemo character with the very decent set here to significantly boost her damage. Kazuha is the best one to use as he can provide grouping and damage buffs. Venti can also be used against light enemies who can be pulled using his burst. He has high personal damage and provides energy restoration. Sucrose and Heizo can use the Thrilling Tales and also provide some grouping. Their elemental mastery buffs becomes valuable in aggravate teams. Lynette can provide team-wide attack buffs. She gains some crowd control at C1. Jin and Sayu has become a very strong option due to the addition of Furina as healer becomes necessary in her teams. Here are some team examples. The Raiden Rational team consisting of Raiden, Xingqiu, Xiangling and Bennett is the best team to use especially for C0. Bennett provides buff and healing. Xingqiu and Xiangling provide high off-field damage. Xingqiu has strong Hydro application which is necessary to proc reactions. These characters have high burst cost, as a result Raiden gets more resource tags. She also provides energy restoration which is extremely helpful for these energy hungry characters, especially Xiangling. She reduces their energy requirements, letting you build more offensive stats on them. A double Hydro team with Raiden Shogun, Furina, Yelan and Jin is my current favorite team. Yelan and Jin can be replaced by Xingqiu and Sayu. This team doesn't have any energy issues. Double Hydro and Raiden decrease Furina and Yelan's energy requirements by a huge amount, letting you build offensive stats on them. Jin's healing lets you have maximum fan fetch stacks all the time and can also double swirl. You will see less damage numbers from Raiden, but the extremely high off-field damage makes up for it. Raiden, Yaemiko, Bennett, Kazuha, Raiden, Fischl, Kujosara, Jin, Raiden, Yaemiko, Lisa, Lynette. These are just some examples. You can create more such teams. You can use a hypercarry Raiden team with Bennett, Kujosara and Kazuha. This team focuses on maximizing Raiden's personal damage. You can switch out Sara with other damage buffers if you don't have her. Kazuha can be swapped out with other Anemo characters if he is not available for this team. This team is best for C2 Raiden where you get to see those satisfying high damage numbers. I would also like to mention Chevreuse as she provides a lot of buffs for Electro and Pyro characters. She can provide 40% resistance rate for Electro and Pyro and attack buff for the team. At C6 she also provides 60% Electro and Pyro damage bonus. However, she is only restricted to Overload teams. You can't use any other characters outside of Electro and Pyro. She can be a great character for maximizing Raiden's damage. Some of her team examples include Raiden, Kujosara, Bennett, Chevreuse. If Kujosara and Chevreuse are C6, this can be the best team for Raiden's personal damage showcase, especially at C2. However, there is no off-field Pyro application here. You may face some downtime on Chevreuse Ascension 1 passive as the resistance trade only lasts for 6 seconds after triggering Overload. Raiden, Xiangling, Bennett, Chevreuse. This team can trigger Overload consistently and result in higher damage in longer run than the aforementioned team. If your Raiden is not C2, this team is usually recommended. However, I would still prefer the Rational team. For more details on Chevreuse, check out my detailed Chevreuse guide. Moving on to aggregate teams. Raiden's aggregate teams are extremely strong and competitive with her aforementioned teams. For this you will need a Dendro character, an Electro sub DPS for maintaining quicken uptime, and the last slot is Flex. Here you can use an Anemo character or another Dendro or Electro character. For Dendro characters, the best one to use is Nahida. She has the best off-field application, high personal damage and EM buffs. However, her strong Dendro application can remove Electro from enemies, making it difficult to swirl Electro. So you will need to use Kuki Shinobu's burst to let you swirl Electro, or you can use another Dendro or Electro character in place of the Anemo character. Dendro Traveler and Kole also provides a good amount of Dendro application along with some EM buffs. The Dendro aura is weaker than Nahida's, making it easier to swirl Electro. Baizu and Yao Yao provide decent single target Dendro application along with healing. Baizu can provide buff to Raiden's aggravate damage from his Ascension 4 passive. This buff can also be applied on your other Dendro and Electro sub DPS characters by briefly switching into them. Baizu and Yao Yao also synergize well with Furina. Kirara can provide elemental damage buff from her C6. Her shield loses value with Raiden as Raiden doesn't need resistance to interruption. Also, her Dendro application is low for Quick Bloom or Hyperbloom teams, so you need to use another Dendro character with her. Some of her aggravate team examples include Raiden, Nahida, Kuki, Kazuha, Raiden, Nahida, Fischl, Yao Yao, Raiden, Dendro Traveler, Fischl, Jin. In aggravate teams, you can slot in an Hydro character like Kokomi, Furina, etc. to change this team to Quick Bloom team, where Raiden procs Quicken as well as Hyperbloom reactions. Raiden, Xingqiu, Nahida, Fischl is an example of this team. Next we have Hyperbloom teams. In this team we don't focus on Raiden's personal damage. You only use her skill and swap her out, and she uses the full EM build. In these teams you need Dendro and Hydro characters to proc blooms, and the last slot is another Dendro character or an Electro character that doesn't steal Hyperblooms like Fischl or Beidou. Since Raiden won't be the one on field here, Beidou can be used. Here are some team examples: Alhaitham, Kokomi, Raiden, Nahida, Nahida, Xingqiu, Raiden, Beidou. And lastly, you can use Raiden with other energy-hungry DPS characters like Eula and Xiao. Here you use Raiden's burst to provide energy restoration during Eula or Xiao's downtime. She does extend the rotations, but her personal damage makes up for it. Comment down below which is your favorite Raiden team. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Genshin content. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.